Hi, I'm Zavien Garrett, and you are watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press. Today I am so happy to be joined by Zavien Garrett. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for asking, and I'm really looking forward to diving into your time making Descendants Wicked Wonderland. But before we get into the new movie, what can you share about your background in the arts and what sparked that passion in you to pursue this field as a career?
Yes. Well, I grew up a dancer, so I think it made a lot of sense. This is one of the bigger roles that I've had. This is the biggest role I've had for sure. And I think it just made sense that this is my first big role because I have such a deep background in dance. Yeah, I just like going into the audition and like the job that I had, it's like where I kind of like grew up. I felt really comfortable there. So, yeah, my background is in like just music and dance and um yeah, it's just like where I really feel comfortable.
It's kind of neat to see where you came from because you mentioned music and dance, and we'll talk about those different facets and other passions of yours. You are quite active in different sports, and of course, with the dance background. So, how would you say physical movement has benefited your life and mindset?
Okay, that's a great question. Um Positively, of course. Um yeah, I would say one thing that dancers or like people in general underestimate about like sports or like dance specifically is just like the sense of awareness. I was telling you like I even just like work at a bar and there's lots of moving parts. There's people moving around. It's a busy like any busy places and just like I think that dances like gave me that like second like sense to just like slow down and I'm like, okay, there's like five people around me and then like working on Descendants, there's a set of like 100 people and just like knowing at all times like where I'm grounded in a scene is is something I feel like that's not talked about as much, but is a huge asset from just like any sort of like physical activity and just like knowing your body awareness and stuff like that.
That was so well said. I
Yeah.
love that. Like in terms of, the things that you don't always think about, like pacing and agility too,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like you mentioned, being grounded in your space. So it's kind of nice to make those connections, even subconsciously. I
Yeah, it's such a
know,
small thing.
yeah, but it's great that you can kind of transfer that to other aspects of your life and your work. In terms of music, I know your father introduced you to hip hop music growing up. Tell me about how those early influences for you and your love for the culture evolved into wanting to create your own music.
100%. So I would say it was more just like hearing the music like my parents would play in the car. When I was really young, I would just like memorize verses from certain songs like front to back and just like practice them all the time because I just thought it was entertaining. And I would say when I graduated high school was when I started writing my own music or songs. And that's definitely what started it was just like the constant repetition and then growing up and being like, okay, like that was fun when I was like 8, but like how can I make this fun again? And I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I want to just try it myself. So I think that was the start of everything was just hearing how like passionate my parents were in the car, like with their favorite song, and I'm just like, I thought it was really cool. I like looked up to it. It was my favorite. It was some of my just like casual favorite things to do. Just like driving around, listen to like what is new this week or something, you know?
and you want to find the joy in what you do. And I like how you mentioned your parents are so, passionate and into the music that made you want to do that as well. Who would you say are your biggest influences in your current chapter of music in both sound, songwriting, and even visual aesthetics? Because music videos is something that you put out as well.
Yes, absolutely. Um, Kendrick Lamar is my favorite artist of all time. So he's a big inspiration for sure. I always get inspired by anyone who uh I feel like there's a lot of moving parts in like film and television, Hollywood, like just arts in general, and lots of influence and pull. And I always am attracted to artists who are like on the biggest stages and um kind of things like that, but still have their own sense of independence as an artist, which I just find like really strong. So it's like something that I want to take into my music because like I'm a small artist, but even going to the recording studio, I like hear other influences in my head and like kind of second guess like things that I want to do with like making a song, making a video and stuff like that. And just like worrying that other people maybe like won't catch on to it. So changing my original thought, but being able to stick to your guns. Like any artist that does that, it's just I always give them a round of applause, and they're usually like in my Spotify playlist all the time.
What would you say you're inspired by as a songwriter? Like the day-to-day life, how do you kind of collect your thoughts and put the pen to paper?
100%. That's a great question. I am definitely inspired by maybe I don't know what the word would be, but my favorite way to find inspiration would be to do something that I've never done before or like go to a place that I've never been. I always find like a new environment will just like slow me down a little bit and realize that like there's inspiration everywhere because I feel like if I try to search for it like too hard, then I just overthink it and the concept becomes like very vague. But just like the simplest, smallest things, they always inspire me. So I would say just like going outside, like a park bench. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think a more elaborate answer would just kind of take away from the point a little bit. Just the simple things are the most inspiring.
Sometimes it's just the simplicity, like you don't want to overcomplicate things. And, sometimes these little things in life are, what bring the most joy and can have the most questions involved. I was listening to some of your released music. I really enjoyed If You Were Mine. I think it was released in 2024, but you kind of re-released it as part of
Yeah,
your
because
new
I wrote
album.
all those songs in 2024, but then I didn't have a place to record them. Like, If You Were Mine just kind of came about like naturally, like within like a couple of weeks. And I was like, awesome. And then I made a video immediately because I was so excited. And then I started working on other things and got sidetracked. And after getting off of Descendants Wicked Wonderland, I just remember like I was so exhausted. We were like working for like I don't know, so 3 months, just like day to day to day, nonstop. And I got off and I was like, I'm just gonna take some time for myself. And I was like, oh yeah, let's get around to doing those things that I never did. And then I recorded it, yeah, last summer into late winter. Yeah.
It's kind of nice to maybe have a bit of downtime to focus on your music. You have all these different projects on the go. What can you share about the music you're currently working on and any release plans for the rest of the year?
Oh yeah. Okay. So I just started going back to the studio. I work out of well, my buddy works there. His name's actually it's a crazy story. So the I record at the warehouse in Gastown, and the reason I record there is because a close friend of mine works there. His name's Matthew Hargue, and he's an audio engineer there. So he is like producing music for me right now, and we're just working from scratch, trying to see like if anything sticks. And that's my plan for the summer is just to like go in once a week, him and I make some beats and find some new sounds to share. But the reason I get to work there, I'm so grateful, honestly, is because we recorded the songs for Descendants there. And I've never been to that studio before, at least to record music before. And I walked in and I met Matthew and he was recording all my lines. And we just kind of hit it off. And he gave me his contact. And I think he just knew kind of when I walked in because I was really comfortable in the booth. And he asked me or he kind of understood that I've definitely like recorded music before. And he was just like, yeah, if you ever want to like come back, like we should just make like anything you want. It doesn't even have to be for the movie. So Descendants kind of connected me with a close friend of mine now who I still record at the same studio that we recorded all the songs for, which is funny.
Shout out to Matthew. It's so nice to have, kind of built a relationship out of this when you're recording music for a movie and then you kind of built this
Yeah.
bond. And I'm sure your sessions have been a lot of fun, a lot of, hard work though, I'm sure,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
trying
I've
to
learned
find
so
what
much.
sticks.
Yeah, it has. And it's actually like Um, it's really inspiring to be there because it's such a professional studio. That's why I say like I'm so grateful to be just like in the right place, right time. Um, it's owned by Brian Adams, and it's just beautiful in there, and they have like just everything you'll ever need, like in a recording studio, the equipment, and it's just professional. And the on Thursday when we were recording. Um, the opener for Summer Walker just came in for a session, and just like being in an environment like that, that's actually something that has brought me lots of inspiration recently. It's just like knowing that like you're where you want to be, and just like seeing all these like new things come around. It's like wow, like this can be not just like a fantasy, you know what I mean? You could hang out with whoever's performing at Rogers tomorrow and maybe get and maybe like feature or something. It's like not a crazy concept anymore because they're kind of in the space, you know?
Like not a pipe dream kind of thing. And that's so great.
Yeah.
So many well-known artists have recorded there with so many big legacies. And yeah, I hope that the music and the recording process goes well for you. You've also been performing live and are involved in the local hip hop scene with some different collectives over the years. What
Hmm.
can you say about the Vancouver music community you've grown to be a part of?
It's fantastic. It's small. And I've noticed that every year I would say the community grows and I have lots of faith and like excitement for where it's gonna go because I think in other cities like New York or LA that they're known for their like art and culture because it's like expanded over such like a long period of time and now it's just like what they do. But I'm kind of realizing growing up here that like every place has to like start somewhere. And I think we're at the start of something that could be fantastic if we just like keep pushing and and just being open to like new artists and yeah, and understanding that like you don't have to like your dreams like don't have to be so far away. Yeah. I feel like that's what the Vancouver scene represents right now.
That's so well said, and it's so great to be a part of, this community and continue to grow it together, yourself included. Speaking about film sets, you've been on a number of local film sets over the past 5, 6 years. Which past project or set has taught you the most about the industry?
Okay, okay. Other than Descendants or because Descendants
Other
is
than Descendants? We'll
okay,
say
okay.
other than
Yeah, yeah,
Descendants.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great question. Okay. So what was the job I had before that? Da-da-da. You know, I did a film called Golden Delicious that shot here in Vancouver. And I would say other than Descendants, that taught me the most because it was a lower budget project and everyone was just as passionate, if not more, to be there than I would say other sets that I've been on. And it just taught me a lot about like the grit and the whole process to making any sort of project. It doesn't even have to be like film and television, but just like how many layers go into it, I really like saw and was a firsthand. Um, I was like right there and a part of it for Golden Delicious. So just I saw the steps just from like writers to like the producer overseeing everything and like how much time you have and how you have to like cram everything into uh like one day or anything like that. So yeah, Golden Delicious taught me that you have to that the workload is just something that you can't underestimate. You know, you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready to like adapt and just like manage everything that's going on around you just with a smile. And like if you do that positively, like it will work out.
Let's get into your current project now, which is, of course, Descendants, Wicked Wonderland. And I will note to all those watching that we are discussing spoilers. So please make sure you have finished the movie before continuing this interview. What can you share about your audition process?
Oh yeah, okay, okay. My audition process was crazy. So I went to Thailand in February of like, I don't know, 2025 was it? Yeah. I don't know, beginning of last year. And I got the audition in the airport coming back home and then memorized all the lines. And I reached out to my buddy and it was due the day that I landed. I can't even remember if I asked for an extension or maybe it was like the morning of or something. But I just remember landing, having like an extreme amount of jet lag. Like when I was coming back home, like the time difference had me like falling asleep at like 7 p.m. and then I would wake up. This happened like for the first 3 days of getting back to Vancouver. I'd fall asleep at 7 p.m. and then I'd wake up at like 4:30 and I would just start my day because I wasn't tired at all. I had so much energy. I was like, okay, I guess this is my life now. Um, but yeah, so I landed in Vancouver and I went to my friend's house and I shot for Felix. And I think I just did 3 takes. I went in and I didn't have this is, I think, maybe why I stuck out like the way that I did was because going into it, I don't think I had any energy in my like body to second guess all my choices. So like all the acting choices that I did were just instinctual. So I think it was like super organic, super natural, and I just gave it everything I got. And I was like to my buddy, um, I did everything I can. I'm going to sleep. And I went home and I sent it in. I did a callback. I can't remember. Oh yeah, this process was so funny. I totally forgot all this happened. I got a callback. I did it. I was in the room with the two choreographers and Kimmy Gatewood. Um, and I did a great job. It felt good. I did like my little like magic tricks and stuff like that. You know, my character like is always working with cards, tarot cards, things like that. I felt comfortable, confident, and then I left and I didn't hear anything back. And I ended up going to the dance audition as well because I was like, it's there. So a couple days later, I was like, I don't really know like what's going on right now. I might as well just like, I don't know, weigh out my options. So I go into the dance audition as well. Do a great job actually. That like I felt really good about that. I thought I was like gonna book the role as a dancer. And the choreographer, Emilio, he he was there that day and I think we were kind of hitting it off and he pulled me aside after the dance audition and he was like, "Yo, did you hear anything back from your callback?" Because he watched me do the callback in the room. And I was like, and it had been, and I think it had been about a week. So I told him, I was like, "No, I didn't hear anything back. Like, I don't think I got it." And he was like, "Oh, okay, that's too bad." And I go home that night from the dance audition, and my agent calls me saying that I booked the role of Felix Facilier. And I was really excited. And I was so confused because I just did the dance audition too. I literally asked her, I was like, okay, wait, so like, am I also a dancer on the show? And she was like, and she was like, yeah, Zavien, like, if you're an actor, like, you ha kind of have to be a dancer. So like, don't worry about that audition that you did. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it was like a wild process. It wasn't just like so straightforward. But yeah, I had so much fun. I'm so happy how it worked out.
It's nice to see that you following your instincts and those impulses helped you get this role even with the jet lag. I was just speaking with Dayton earlier today and he had this similar story in terms of also doing like the dance audition, and you're kind of like, which one am I gonna get? But it's so
Yeah.
nice to, have booked a role of a VK and you have a bit more screen time and getting to actually build a character out. What was your knowledge of the franchise before you auditioned, before you were cast, and what can you say about its legacy?
Oh yeah. Um yeah, I knew Descendants since the first movie. I worked on Descendants 3, The Big Sleep as a dancer and which is so funny. I guess like I maybe just because it's the name like Descendants going in, I assumed that just like everyone working on it like who hired me knew I was already on the third one. But it's like a completely different project like for who's working on it and like who's in that process. So I guess it makes sense that they didn't know, but it was so funny because I was on set and I was like, "Oh yeah, I was in the third movie." And they were like, "You worked on the third movie?" They're like the directors are like so and so like whoever's behind the scenes they're like, "We didn't even work on the third movie. What are you doing over there?" But yeah, it's always been just like I've always been like weirdly connected to it. My sister watched all three, like one, two, and three all the time. So she was super excited to see that I was in the fifth one. Um, yeah, Descendants was huge. Like I think the first trilogy was like coming out when like I was in maybe like grade 8. And yeah, I have always grown up watching like Family Channel and like Disney Channel. So I would always see like in between like episodes of like what show I'm watching, then they would like play like music videos from Descendants and like Camp Rock or something like that. So yeah, Descendants has like always been a part of my life, even if I didn't even know it was there, you know?
Can you expand on how you shaped Felix Facilier, including both his personality and physical characteristics, like building his mannerisms, like his demeanor that you wanted to portray on screen, and if you drew inspiration from anywhere?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing I did was just watch every scene of Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog. So I was really just like thinking about my relationship with my father and how much of like his characteristics like I would have and how much of the characteristics would just be like my own that I like make for myself and just like a new development as a character. One thing that stuck was the his resting face. Like the villain just like unamused reaction to just like anything going around and around us. Um One thing that I always stuck to and kind of like a mantra that I had for myself was I tried to play it like we are very strong. Like my father, my family, like and our my powers are so grand. So even going into Wonderland, it was like this huge balance of just like, okay, I'm impressed. Like I've never seen this type of magic or like wonder before, but at the same time, I wanted to have some sort of like unamused influence go into my character because it's like, you know what? I know this magic stuff. I know that I'm the most powerful. So it's like if I'm seeing other cool stuff going on around me, there was always this like base of Felix that was just like, whatever, I'm way cooler than that. Whatever. Even if I'm low key like impressed, like I can never let them know. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's one characteristic that I definitely just tied into like almost every scene in the movie because it was just really just like the base of myself. It was like, how much am I gonna allow others to see? Because I'm also like a villain, right? So it's like I can't really, I gotta have some sort of like battle going on, and I can't let them know that I'm not the coolest sometimes, you know?
We do start to see that soften. He has the moment with the flower flamingo.
Yes,
Obviously, there's
exactly.
like the relationship between one of the HKs, which we'll get into in a bit. But did you, because you also worked on Descendants 3, did you consider the introduction of a supposed like sibling in this universe of
Mhm.
Celia Facilier,
Yeah,
and even like their father was also introduced in that third movie. So
yeah.
obviously they don't make an appearance in this fifth installment. Some time has passed, but was that something that you considered?
Oh yeah. Uh, Considered like knowing that they're around or like how I'm connected to them? Yes. I just wanted to make sure that I carried myself with the same family standard as them, and sense of pride and power. Yeah. I was thinking about it the whole film.
I guess it's a little hard because they're not in there, tangibly that you can kind of interact with, but it's
Yeah.
nice to kind of draw that connection between these movies. We are introduced to your character during the grand opening number for Perfect Princess. As your
Mhm.
first appearance, like your first line, take me through choreography and filming and wanting to make a strong first impression.
Absolutely. Um, that was, I think, our first day on set as well. So it was really just like twice as big. But making a first impression for the character as Felix, I really just wanted to let everyone know that was bad. If we were there, and especially like being with Hazel and Max, and we're all hanging out, we were at school, and I was like, okay, today I'm going to be the best dancer here, and today I'm gonna bully everyone I see. Because I wanted to start off like very strong on the villain side and show everyone that I like we weren't to be someone you would want to mess with. And then it would have that character development throughout the rest of the film that kind of softens and you see the our interactions with the flamingos and the butterflies and stuff like that. And that there's another side. But for the opening of the movie, I feel like we really had to show that we were the baddest people there. And that was the mindset for sure.
Definitely. Now, Felix is part of Hazel Hook's VK crew, like you mentioned. In your eyes, what are the power dynamics like within the group, and how did Felix become a part of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Max is definitely our leader. Hazel thinks she's our leader. And we're honestly too scared of her to let her know that it's actually Max. So we'll just go along with it probably forever. And I think I'm okay with not being the leader. You know, there's something about the Faciliers that are just very whimsical, where it's just like, I think I would rather have fun than have the responsibility of telling everybody what to do. So all of like my sense of like strength just comes from all of my favorite things that like my family and I love.
You mentioned his tarot cards. He carries around those shadow cards, and is a fortune teller. Whether it's part of a sham or not is debatable, but how fun was this to have as a character prop, like something physical to hold and play with?
Amazing. I still have the cards because they're so beautiful as well, and just like quality, like the set design is fantastic. Um, but yeah, each card I even just like made meaning behind like the card itself. And it was so funny for each scene that we would have. Like, it's not anything that you would see like watching the film, but just for me personally, just like having some sort of direction, like knowing where I am in the world, depending on what was going on in the scene, like if it was like dark times and it was just like maybe the part of the film where like everyone was like struggling the most, then I would pick like a certain card that like represented that. I think I had like a set of eight or something. And I would just put different cards like in my little pocket in my suit jacket just to kind of represent or like hold in my hand to always have that like regrounding of like, oh yeah, okay, this is what's going on. So if it was like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like an example. Like I had like a skeleton card that I would always want to like pull out like if I was gonna like scare someone. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, today it's like we're gonna lean towards more the villain side, the like fear factor. It's like that skeleton card is gonna be close to home, and then I would switch it for anything else that was happening. But that was I think I was very lucky to have that. I think actually almost every character had something that they could just like hold on to and that reminded them like who they were, like Hazel with her hook, Max with the hat and his like yeah. And him doing all his hat tricks and stuff like that. It was, I think they must have done that on purpose because it was very convenient.
And it's nice to create meaning behind something. Like, Pink has her teacups, for example, as well. Let's talk about the group that goes to Wonderland to stop Maddox Hatter, which includes Felix. What do you think Felix's thoughts were about the situation? Having to go to Wonderland. Was he game? Was he hesitant? Where was his mindset at for that new adventure?
You know, he was actually scared because I remember going into the uh the rabbit hole. That was one of my favorite days on set, side note. Um just jumping down there. I think for Felix, it was the only time that he didn't have like a hand on the wheel and all the like crazy just magic and like out of this world like things that you haven't seen before. I feel like other people have that experience, but the Faciliers don't because they're like so used to it and they like have always have like a trick up their sleeve. But I think I didn't have anything planned going into the rabbit hole and then going to Wonderland and everything was unknown, which I wasn't used to. So Felix was definitely nervous and had to go through a lot of feelings of just like he had to fight through that.
It was definitely a struggle at times, but you filmed at some really cool sets, Ordon Prep, Hatley Castle, and Victoria, but primarily in Wonderland. Can you take me behind the scenes of how Wonderland was created and stepping into that world?
Yeah. The castle on the island was stunning, and all the sets behind the scenes, there was just the set deck and set design just working day to day. And I can't even like begin to describe how they did it because like walking in to set and I would say the when it really started to hit was like when we fell down the rabbit hole and we come out on the other side and we're in the forest and like there's all these different colors. There's like giant mushrooms that's like actually a guy and like runs around. And the flamingos, like everything was like beautiful. And the gate that we walk through, I would say behind the scenes, they did a fantastic job of just like making me forget where I was, like in real life. Like we all knew we were in Wonderland when we were filming.
I heard it was a lot of like practical sets and
Yes.
visually when you're watching it, much less actually being there filming, it was visually so colorful and alive. We'll talk about Felix's unintentional side quests that he goes on with Robbie in the teacup, and then after he gets ejected from the chessboard. How fun were these moments to film and lead into the comedic aspect of the movie?
Yeah. I loved filming the teacup scene on when we're in the middle of the ocean with the waves, like Robbie and I, because we're on this prop teacup and it's on some sort of device that is like elevated in the air behind in front of a green screen, and it just kind of rotates, kind of like it would at like maybe like a kid's ride at like Playland or I don't know any sort of carnival. Um, but yeah, it's moving around, and then they're actually like hosing water at the bottom of the teacup, and we're like kind of getting splashed. So I would say it was just like it was we were actually on a ride. So it was so much fun and just like getting to play that we were or getting just like to scream from like the top like off the top of our lungs just like as loud as we can in this like warehouse in front of a green screen was really just like hilarious. It definitely helped us like the real aspect of it just helped us lean into the comedy for sure because it was quite hilarious.
Especially knowing that there was actually some kind of water being splashed at you to make it seem realistic.
Yeah.
Dancing with the Enemy was a very fun number. What memories do you have from filming on that chessboard and the dancing and choreo involved?
Yeah, that was a big week because the chessboard was like the most shots I think we had to get for a dance number. And because you had to, not only did you have to show the piece, like the choreography and everything, but then there was also lines and scenes, and just like everyone was doing their own individual journey on the chessboard. So it was a lot of like camera close-ups like inside the choreography itself and just the battle, like there was fighting. Um yeah, that was the whole week. I think we filmed that like every single day, Monday to Friday, um shooting the dance number on the chessboard. And that was my favorite dance number, was that one because something about the intensity of like the battle, I think we all really felt. And I think it really helped that we couldn't see the dancers' faces because they were chess pieces. So having them in like full costume with the masks on, I think that um like all of us, the HKs, the VKs, stepping onto the board, I think we were really ready to like go to battle. And everyone felt that, which was awesome. I would say that was the most like intricate like piece that we got choreography wise. So that in itself was like also a battle.
And because there's that air of mystery to it, I like that you mentioned that you can't see basically those other chess pieces. So for them, it's very high stakes. There's a mostly happy ending at the end of the movie. How do you think Felix felt about their mission being accomplished and working with the HKs? Like, how did his perception of them change?
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot, or he did. And I think I knew going in from the very beginning, like going down the rabbit hole, Hazel was more wary of Max's choice to help them. And Felix was as well, because we don't do that and we don't like them. But I was definitely already from the beginning of the movie, like Max, I think I understood, well, we all did understood why the need for like helping the HKs, because we didn't want everyone to look at us as the bad guy all the time. And we just kind of play into it sometimes because we assume that they're gonna say that we're villains. So we're like, well, you already painted me as that, so I'm just gonna lean into it. And then Max kind of took point and he was like, okay, we're gonna fight against this. And by the end of the movie, I know just Felix was pleasantly surprised of how similar all the HKs were to us. And my relationship with Robbie definitely um, helped grow that realization.
So well said, and thank you for sharing. Like, there's all these preconceived notions, like obviously within the franchise of the HKs versus the VKs, but it's always nice to kind of come together as many of them end up doing in these missions or adventures. True to Your Heart was another fun number. A lot of moving parts with the props and the teacups and the tables. So, how was that one to rehearse and perform?
Yeah, the finale. Um, it was awesome. Yeah, performing that one was really nice because it was our last week on set, for a lot of us at least. So performing that number was just a celebration. Everyone was just having a good time, and it was really a party. It felt like a party on set because it was like the most people that we've had on set at the same time since Perfect Princess. So yeah, it was just a huge celebration and everyone was having the best time. I would say like maybe it was like the most like free I felt like just doing like a dance number. Like everyone was giving it everything that they had. It was awesome.
It's nice to know that even, at the end, towards the end of the filming, that everyone is still giving, 100% and
Yeah.
more to make this look good. And there's a sweet moment when Felix gifts Pink a new teacup after previously
Yeah.
breaking the one due to his maybe PTSD. And we'll talk about that friendship you mentioned between Felix and one of the HKs and Robbie Hood, maybe out of convenience and teacup trauma, but I know that you two were beside each other in the for the final number as well, but I'm just wondering if the two of you filmed any other scenes, especially like with the teacup. I mean, I really want to see a full clip of how you got out of the open waters and made your way back to land, or were those just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the couple moments that you had together?
Yeah, I would say the only other scene that we had together was going to the Lemuria tree and finding our friends. We just like run in at the same time. So I would say that's not even like that wasn't even on camera. It was just us kind of like hanging out, like walking to the tree, like excited to like just missing everybody, and we were just so terrified. Um, me, and one of the SMEs, Ryan and Joel filmed a scene of like just improv after we got um flung off of the chessboard. and we filmed a bunch of just random takes of the first thing that came to our head, of us chilling in a giant flower, being like, how am I away from the group again? And so I know that they used that for the film, but there was like, I would say like 5 or 6 other takes of just like us just hanging out there, like playing games, maybe like fighting. Like Venus flytrap is next to us. Um, yeah, we filmed quite a bit of other versions of that scene.
I hope we get to see those one day, maybe in like a blooper reel or something. I think the
Yeah,
final take that they used was like maybe it might have been you going like someone's
not
like not
again.
again, yeah, not
Yeah,
again.
yeah, 100%.
So it's great to again kind of lean into that comedic timing and aspect. With you and Joel, did you ever discuss Felix and Robbie's interactions and what they thought of each other? Because we get to see the start of maybe a friendship blossoming there that you wouldn't have imagined at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, which is so exciting. Absolutely. Anytime we were in a scene together, we would just kind of hang out before, and I'd be like, okay, how mad are we at each other still? You know what I mean? Like where are we on the spectrum of best friends to enemies in this scene right now? And we would just touch base and really just dive into that. Every scene.
Well, that was great between the two of you. Hope to see more of that in future installments. So on that note, what are your hopes for Felix and his future in the franchise? Like, what would you like to see from him or any other characters in a sequel?
Yeah, 100%. I would love to do more. One of my favorite parts was doing all the tricks. So I worked with a magician slash like sleight of hand specialist for when I steal the Ace of Hearts from that has the message for red, and I take her card and I like kind of do a little wave trick where it goes behind my hand, and I learned how to do that, which was super fun. I would say like all the tricks on set where I'm like on the chessboard and I'm like throwing my tarot card at a chess piece to like kind of like win the game. All of the like physical tricks that we did, I had a lot of fun shooting. So I would say for like future franchise of Felix being on set, I would want to expand on that. I would want to do some crazier, like grand gestures, like I don't know, disappearing and reappearing or like stuff like that, like something crazy. I would want to lean into the magic side of this character for sure.
Have you continued to practice with any kind of card deck, or is it on
I
pause for now?
I have anytime I'm playing cards, I'll what which it doesn't happen that often, but if like I don't know, I'm playing crazy eights, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like there was a time where I had to hold a card, like practicing that, like I would just do it like when I was watching TV, just to make sure it was like second nature. So if I'm just like watching my favorite show, I was just kind of like going like this all the time, like with a card in my hand. So yeah, I definitely remember every once in a while, like some time will go by, then I'll see a card and I'll be like, can I still do this? So yeah, I have been practicing. Not as much as I should be though.
It's always good to test those reflexes out every now and then, at least
Mhm.
until, the next announcement. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's talk costumes and hair and makeup because your
Yeah,
look paid homage to Dr. Facilier in The Princess and the Frog and maybe some of those other kind of installments that we got to see his family in. So tell me about creating Felix's look, those fittings, and wearing it with confidence.
100%. That was some of my favorite part parts of working on set was working with the costume team because and makeup because they really just made me feel like this is it. I was Felix, And from the tattoos on my hands and like my nails being done, I've never had my nails done before. I was like, this is kind of cool. I felt like a rock star. And with the jacket and all the shine and like the metal, I think one thing that did a fantastic job on was the detail. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but like my oh, I can't remember the name. It's like the hand with the eye on it. I think it's called like the Eye of Horus or something. But it's like imprinted over all my clothes. I even have it tattooed on my hands. So like a lot of the detail in the costume was from the original movie, like Princess and the Frog, and connected to my depth as a character. So if it was that tarot reading that was like on my clothes or in the finale of the show, um, it's kind of hard to catch, but my necklace has the frog on it, um, which I think was my favorite detail actually out of like all of my little bits and bobs on my costume. But yeah,
It's
so
really
the
cool
detailing
to
was
see
insane.
that because we don't, like you mentioned, some of this doesn't always make it to screen, but you're aware of all these little details and the recognizable color palette with like the purple and maroon from The Princess and the Frog. And I wanted to ask about the hand markings, like tattoos that he had. So how was that for you to be in like makeup and getting that all applied and, having it last basically the whole day you're on set?
Yeah, it was actually quite crazy. Especially because once it was on there, it wasn't like we could like readjust. Like it's a tattoo, so it's like scene two comes around. Like we're not gonna if we didn't like the positioning of the tattoo, we're not changing it now. Um, but yeah, it was wild. I just every morning makeup chair in the trailer, and I would get like 8 tattoos on my hand. Actually, originally they put it was so funny because my character was like the most kind of hardcore, I would say, like out of the VKs, and just like look wise, and also just who he was um they really leaned into it and on my first original look they had the tarot hand on my neck, so I had a giant neck tattoo that was like right here, and as soon as we tried it out and did our first look they were like, okay, I get it, he's a villain, but that is but he's kind of scary right now. You know what I mean, like and not in a good way, so they took that out. It was too much, but yeah, it was we got really good at it, the process. You know, I would say like halfway through, it was just I swear I was in that chair for like 45 minutes. We were to the point where like I was used to being there for like an hour and a half. So I would be like mid conversation mid conversations with like my makeup artist and she's like, "Okay, you're all done." I was like, "Wait, I thought we were hanging out."
The time definitely gets, I think, shorter and shorter once you all get into a rhythm and
Yeah.
groove. I was gonna say the neck tattoo, what did it look a little too tough and
It was
threatening?
so tough. It was, yeah, 100%. Yeah, even I agree too. I wasn't gonna say anything like if they wanted it, but they were like, "Yeah, we gotta take this away," and I was like, "That is a great idea." I'm scared myself right now. Like,
You're like, I
yeah,
agree, I fully agree.
yeah.
The hair, obviously different than you support it in your day to day.
What? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. What right now?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
versus Felix's hair, obviously.
actually, so I usually have quite like a messy afro going on, so I was used to that. Shooting Descendants was the biggest that my hair has ever been, and what one thing that I actually would have done differently was get a haircut before we started because I already needed a haircut when we started. I just like I don't really cut my hair, but I'll trim like an inch or two off just so like it doesn't get out of hand. But I totally forgot that like as soon as we start shooting, there's like continuity and stuff. So like we started shooting and then I needed a haircut for 3 months straight. And I was like I really have to wait this out. So yeah, when I went to the salon after like our last day of shooting, it was Like me and my hairdresser had like a really good laugh because it was just the longest we've ever seen it. It was getting crazy. But no, right now I have the cornrows in because I'm so excited. I've never been to a premiere before, and it's in 2 weeks or less. It's in like 9 days or something. Um, yeah, so I'm really just trying to dress my best, and I got a messy head of hair, so I thought this was nice to just like pretend like I could slick it back for a day, you know?
You're like, I want to style myself a bit more going into the premiere. That's very exciting.
Yeah,
But I imagine with you and your stylist, you're like your hair is kind of getting out of hand at this point
yeah.
for 3 months. It was
That was
definitely very
crazy.
like poofy in the show, but it was also, I think, great to kind of contrast because I feel like it made him also seem a bit less threatening, especially towards the end once he's a bit more of a friendlier character.
Yeah.
How excited and proud are you of yourself during this journey? I know you mentioned Descendants 3 as a dancer, chorus performer, but now officially being a VK and part of this franchise.
I'm so excited. Yeah, it really just kind of grows on you day to day from like booking the job um to now going to Los Angeles to like watch the movie with everybody and just enjoy the premiere. Um Even just like my relationship like online, just everyone kind of like getting to know the characters and like what's gonna happen, seeing the trailer for the first time day to day. Yeah, the excitement only grows, and I'm so honored to be. I'm so honored to be here because yeah, I really look up to the franchise, and I would say one thing that I think about all the time is just like making sure that I can represent it to like the best of my ability because like I'm so excited to be here, and I just hope everyone else can kind of catch on to that from me and my friends.
Well, you should be so proud of your work in this movie. I have a couple more questions for you. Can you
Yeah.
share a favorite memory or two from filming and working with this cast?
Okay, okay. Yeah, 100%. There's too many. Um, the first thing I could think about was, oh, okay. I loved our dance. I love all of our rehearsals. That was like I would say like 50% of the maybe even more like 70% of the rehearsals weren't even acting rehearsals. They were dance rehearsals because there was so many moving parts like and just like how we integrated with the dancers and the actors all together and learning choreography. That was the most like detailed we had to be just moving working with like I don't know 100 people or something. Um, but one day on set we had a little bit of downtime like for the actors and like there was a lot of like the choreographer had to work with one person at a time. So there was a lot of us just like hanging out. And at the time, the Mad Hatter and I were working with the magician to like learn all of our tricks. So on our downtime, Leo and I were just chopping it up and kind of hanging out. He was like, showing me what he learned today, and I was showing him what I learned that day. And we're just sitting like kind of in the dance rehearsal space, like off to the side. And we're all just like, and he taught me how to do this trick where I'm like holding a deck of cards and I could like press one down just on the end of the deck and it would fly up and I would catch it in my other hand, which is something that he does, but I don't do. So he kind of like let me in on that and taught me how to do it. And it was like, it was such like a simple trick that like looked so effective and like magical that like I that's what the one of the tricks that I practice the most like today is not even my own. It's the Mad Hatter's because like I thought it was so cool and like and I just want to do it all the time like at a party or something I'm like yo watch this like because you could flip through the whole deck doing that. Um but yeah that was fun because we just got to like exchange just like everything that we were doing like when we were separate and then everyone was together and we had like I don't know some time to kill so we were like let's just have fun today and like practice magic. That was a great day.
And it's nice to have that interaction with Leonardo, because you didn't really share scenes in the movie. His scenes are kind of separate from everyone else's.
Yeah, they
I know
were.
that you and the cast continue to be so close. You went to Coachella with
Yeah,
Brendan and Kiara.
Kiara.
So tell me about, the friendship that you have even after filming and getting to spend time together and support one another.
It's amazing. Yeah, it was that trip was awesome and just like being able to see what they're up to like so far away because like they're in LA, I'm in Vancouver, Brendan's in Montreal. And just like catching up, like every time we see each other, it's like we're on set again and I saw them yesterday. So just like having a relationship like that is really beautiful. Um yeah, that trip was so fun. It just came about like Kiara was gifted just 4 free tickets to go to Coachella. And she was like, "You guys want to go?" I was like, "Absolutely." I dropped like everything. Like I think I had to work like in like it was like 2 weeks. She was like, "Hey, like I just got all these tickets. Like, do you want to go?" I texted her back like 5 minutes later, like, send me the confirmation and I'll book off my time right now. I told all my friends I was like, guys, if let's all book our flights tonight because even if I don't get the time off work, I will just quit my job. I literally told them that over FaceTime because I was like, when is this ever gonna happen again? Like what a crazy I don't know, just random thing that happened, you know? Um so yeah, we still spend time together like all the time. I just went to ASAP Rocky on Wednesday and I saw Malia there and we hung out all night. So yeah, everyone's very connected.
That's so sweet and so nice of Kiara to invite you as well to have that trip and that experience. I'm sure you'll
Yeah,
have a lot of fun together at the premiere and hopefully more
100%.
fun times to come. I have one more question, our signature question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Ooh, cookie dough, 100%. I'd have to be cookie dough because even well, it's my favorite flavor, one. And that's one of those flavors where it's like you ever like get the same thing on the menu every single time, and then you like try like you're going out to eat or something, and then you try to like do something different, but it's like, yo, you can't find it. Like your favorite dish is this. It's like even like when I try something else, I'm like, okay, this was good, it was fun, but like honestly, deep down, I really just wanted cookie dough the whole time. So it's like even if like I thought like freaking what's another flavor? Mint chocolate chip was cooler. I can't even find it. I'm just at heart, just I'm a cookie dough flavor guy.
That's a great way to end things off. And sometimes you just like you said, you just can't fight it. Like you just
Can't
have your
find it.
favorites and
Yeah,
you have to stand by it. So
100%.
cookie dough it is. Zavien, it's been so nice to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
100%, Chloe. It was so nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. I loved these questions. They were really fun, and it was nice to just think about like all that's going on in the crazy year that it's been.
And your journey making the movie. I'm sure lots of more great times to come for future projects. For all those watching, make sure to catch Zavien as Felix Facilier in Descendants Wicked Wonderland out July 16th on Disney Channel and July 17th on Disney Plus. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much.